I think we have to really get away from this mindset of us being the best. And second is other people taking away our skills. If we learn to let go, then we can build a proper process. And when we can start building processes, that is where we can achieve more repeatability and consistency.
Welcome to the iSearch podcast. Today we have Raymond Chou, the founder of Owner's Circle, on the show. Today I'll be discussing with Raymond on how to build high-performance team and be a better business leader. So welcome to the show, Raymond.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Alright, so let's start with the common challenges faced by entrepreneurs. So what are the common challenges they face when trying to build like a high-performing team?
For me, for my experience building 17 different companies, the one thing that everyone faces is really about finding the right talent, right? I think when you're trying to build this high-performing team, a lot of times we face the challenge where, we find somebody, we think this person is the right talent, and then the person leaves. So being able to find is one thing, being able to keep and retain is another, right? So I think the challenge is always that what is the balance between spending time finding people and spending time looking for sales? Most entrepreneurs feel that one of the main things of a business is to get more sales. I completely agree and nothing wrong with that. But I feel that if the main focus is on sales and not about building the right high-performing team, then you will always be just doing sales yourself. I think the main thing to understand is that we have to find time and find that space to be able to spend time building this team. And if the team is good, sales will naturally come. I remember always a very famous quote by Richard Branson that says that if you treat your people well, our people will treat the customers well. So it's not just about treating the customers. We got to focus on the people as well.
Okay, so how can entrepreneurs overcome these challenges in terms of hiring and retaining in order for them to scale their business?
Just pay higher. I'm just
Pay
kidding.
higher.
Just
Can
kidding.
everyone go to Singapore, right?
I think some entrepreneurs feel that as long as you can pay higher, people will come. In one context, maybe the answer is yes. But then this doesn't guarantee that people will stay. So I feel that in order to overcome this, we really have to truly understand the meaning of, I call it the right triangle. And the right triangle means that we've got to spend time finding the right person, making sure that the person is doing the right things, and providing this person with the right environment. Now, if we spend time identifying the right person, we identify what is the skills this person has and put this person to do what he or she loves, it's not enough. Because great people wants to work for great companies. If we want great talents, we've got to provide them an environment which is great. And I'm not talking about putting football tables and free lunch dinners in the office. That's not providing a great environment. That is providing a cool environment. But it doesn't guarantee that the person that you want is fitting in that environment. So to overcome it, really truly understand this triangle. Right people doing the right things in the right environment. If that makes sense.
So I think there's one issue where many entrepreneurs refuse to delegate because they have this fear that the quality will drop if they are not the one doing the work. Let's say if they are not the one selling the customers, or they are not the one running the campaigns for the customers. So how can they break away from this hurdle?
I feel it's a mindset thing, right? And I feel that if you are a person that feels that you are the best at everything in your company, then you will continue to becoming the best in your company and nobody else will be able to work. So if you're going to be doing that, then don't be a business owner. Be a solopreneur. Just work for yourself, right? And you can be the best at everything. If you want to really build a company and you want to grow a company, we must let go of this belief that we are good at everything. We must empower others, even though at that point of time, the person is not good enough or not as good as you lah. And if the person is not as good as you, we've got to ask ourselves the question. We've got to look in the mirror and ask ourselves the question: why? Why is that person not as good as me? Am I not providing the person enough for training? Am I not guiding the person enough? Am I not creating a process for this person to follow? We've got to understand that, every one of us, you, me, and everyone listening to this podcast has only 24 hours a day. This thing doesn't change, right? We all have the same number of hours. And out of the 24 hours, we still need to sleep. I think many entrepreneurs think that they don't need to sleep, right? But if we just take 8 to 10 hours a day for work and the rest for sleep, for eating, for spending time with family and all that, right? And if you are just good at it, right, then we can only spend 8 to 10 hours to be good at something, to provide something good for customers. So the only way that we can grow is to be able to leverage on other people's time. If I manage to train you, Benjamin, to be good, then suddenly I have 8 hours or 10 hours plus another 10 hours. I have 20 hours to do what I need to do for customers. Another person, same thing. Another person, the same thing. So the concept of building a team is really about being able to leverage other people's time. And this is what I teach a lot, right? Under Owner Circle, we have a program called Leadership, Execution, Alignment, and Delegation. And that program has built many strong foundations for many entrepreneurs. If the foundation is right, the growth is right. I always mention this. Kung Fu masters, right? And the old Kung Fu masters, what they would do is they would teach the student, but they won't teach the student 100%, right? And they only teach the person 80%. Why? Because the Kung Fu master is always afraid that the student will be better and they will kill the Kung Fu master. So one Kung Fu master only teach 80%. Now the Kung Fu master that he teach will also only teach 80%, and then will keep 20%. Look at where Kung Fu is today. Kung Fu is almost non-existent already. Why? Because everybody is keeping 20% until the whole thing is all gone already. So I think we have to really get away from this mindset of us being the best, and second is other people taking away our skills. If we learn to let go, then we can build a proper process. And when we can start building processes, that is where we can achieve more repeatability and consistency. I talk a lot about this concept called repeatability, consistency, and predictability. If you want to get away from being the best person in the company, we got to learn to let go.
Okay. So assuming this entrepreneur, he's saying, okay, I need to really let go. But because most of entrepreneurs, we started with maybe 1% or 2% until you reach a point where, okay, now is already the time to hire. Or rather, how do they know when is like the right time to hire before they even reach the burnout stage where they need to hire? Because when you need to hire, it means that you're going to hire whichever person that comes into the door, right? So when is like the right time to hire?
I think there's a few factors that you have to consider. Number one is, does your business allow you to have an additional person? Can your numbers meet the headcount, right? If your profits and revenue meets the requirement, or there's incoming business that comes in to support this, or if you have a lot of money or you have funding that comes into the company, then I think building the team is the right moment. One thing that I always tell myself this, right? That I am not perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect. So if I'm going to scale, if I'm going to hire the next person, what would be the person, or what does this next person do? And I'm sure, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right, Benjamin, if I ask you, there are certain things that you like to do and you don't like to do, correct?
Yeah.
And those things that you don't like to do, maybe somebody else likes to do it, correct?
Yeah.
So that's how I start my hiring. I figure out what I don't like to do, and then I go and hire people that likes to do it. So then they love what they are doing. I love what I'm doing, and then all I got to do is just provide the right environment for them to grow. This is what I go back to the previous question when I'm saying right people, right, the right things to do, and then the right environment. So I would approach it that way first. Now, how do I decide when do I burn out?
Yep.
I feel that as an entrepreneur, if you are burning out, it possibly means that you are probably we don't really understand what is the end goal and where we're going. What is this finish line? I'm not sure whether you have experienced this, but if you are running like a 10-kilometer run, I'm not a runner, right? So to me, running 10 kilometers is like a very, very big task all by itself. But the fact that I know it's 10 kilometers, I know where's the finish line, I know how far I have to run, no matter how tired we are, even if we have to walk, we will still make it one. We will still cross the finish line one. And I realize that most of the time when I am feeling tired, I'm feeling burnout, it's because actually I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling lost as in I really don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what am I doing now, what is it for? So I think it's not, the burnout doesn't happen if you're very clear. If you're very clear of what you're wanting to do, the chances of you burning out is less. You will put in the effort one, even if you have to work 12 to 14 hours a day. But please get some sleep.
Yeah, I think because most people when they start, it's like the main reason is money lah, right? Because like, okay, I want to earn more money than my employee job, so that's why I do this business. But I think as you reach a certain point where money is like you cannot earn enough, there's really like no vision of where the company is heading, and probably that's where like the burnout will happen lah. No matter how much or how little hours you work, it will still happen.
Absolutely. So entrepreneurs that have the motivation to start a business just to earn more money will probably be the ones that will burn out, because they are not solving a problem, they are not driving something towards something that they can head towards to, and money, like it or not, is not a strong enough motivation to continue a business. Because I tell you, if you want to earn money and you want to have an easy life, don't start a business. Go and work for people. Honestly, if you want
a corporate ladder,
correct,
very
climb
safe
corporate ladder,
and lucrative as well.
I can tell you, I have so many friends which are in high positions in the corporate space, MNCs, right? They're earning so much more money, man. They're earning so much more money than me, right? And they are guaranteed income on a monthly basis. Some of those that work for some MNCs, they get stocks, they get shares, they get incentives and all that. Yeah. So if you the entrepreneurs that want to be entrepreneurs and you want to start a business, there must be a very significant purpose. There must be this drive to go and solve something. There must be this drive to want to change the world somehow, right? And make something different for someone or something, if it makes sense.
Okay. Just now I think you mentioned the 3 triangles, right? The right people doing the right thing in the right environment. So I think the right people doing the right thing, that is you already explained it. But what about the right environment? How do you create like the right environment for employees?
Yeah. So if we have the right person, this person may be a very good talent. If he loves what he does, right? Like for example, if you go to a restaurant and you have this really nice tasting steaks, right? And you eat it, and the waiters and the waitresses are very kind and their service is very, very good. But that place is next to a longkang, and the longkang is smelly, right? No matter what, you will still think twice when you go back, correct?
Yeah.
So providing the right environment is number one. What is the culture that you are creating for the teams, the people? And culture is not about, like I said earlier, right? Culture is not about decorating the office with multiple colors, putting a foosball table in the middle, having some cool stuff, right? No, building a culture means what is the types of attitudes, behaviors, and aligned values that we want everyone in that team to have. Because what is the number one? Guess what? What is the number one reason for people to leave companies? People don't leave companies. People leave people. So if I cannot get along with my colleagues,
The boss.
or I cannot get along with my boss, a very high chance I will leave. It's nothing to do with the job. I can be doing something I love so much. But if there's some idiot in the office that causes me headaches every day, right, I will leave. So I think I go back to the principle of how do we get our best friends? Why are our best friends our best friends? Because somehow we have the same vibe, or we like to do the same things together, or something, right? If we can take that and put it into a corporate environment, a company environment, find people who are equal in certain ways, and we can represent this in things like, companies have things like core values and things like that. But fundamentally, it is basically about understanding truly what is the culture, how is the people that you want, and the third one, most important, is how are you providing growth to the people that is working with you. Because like it or not, if there come a time where somebody that's working for us feels that I'm not learning anything anymore, then they will leave, right? There's no more growth. So there must always be this path for growth. And if one day somebody really is not growing anymore, then just let the person go. Then find somebody else. Right? Yeah.
Okay. So you need to be in order to be like a better leader, you need to always give like a path to growth for every of your employees so that they can stay motivated for the long term, and you can also retain them, especially like the A players.
Absolutely, especially for the A players. I was talking to a friend many years ago, right? And we were contemplating like how do we motivate A players, right? And before even that, right, we had a discussion and we are asking ourselves, why is it that the best talents in a company typically is the first one that will leave? And we realized one very, very important mistake that many of us entrepreneurs do. A lot of us as entrepreneurs, we have an A player, and what we normally do is we leave the person alone. Oh, this person is so good already, he's an A player already, okay lah, he's self-sufficient, he's independent. Right? And then we go and what do we do? What do we use our time for? We go and spend time with the weak players. Try and coach them to become better and better and better. And then suddenly the A player leave. And then we all headache. But actually we don't realize that what we are doing is that we are spending our time inefficiently. If it's an A player in the company, we should be spending more time with the A player. A lot of A players feel that they are being neglected, even though we as leaders think that we are just leaving them alone because they are already so good. A players are A players because they love to be challenged. And this is what, from a psychological perspective, and I've seen many of my friends who run successful companies, right? They are great players, likes more work, likes to be challenged, likes something else that they want to do. They don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again because they feel they want to grow, they feel they want to learn something. So when we are hiring A players, it is very important for us to give them an element of growth. Continue to spend time with them, continue to challenge them, continue to raise the bar with them. Because there's one thing that A players always want to do is to become a higher A player, A plus, or plus, don't know how many plus . That's what makes them A .
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of, like, of course, every entrepreneurs want to hire as many A players as possible in their team, so they can build, very high performing team. But how do they identify the A players, during the interview, or how do they find this right candidate?
So finding A players don't start from the interview. Finding A players starts from 2 to 3 steps before that. The first thing is that understand one thing is that A players wants to work for A companies. Good people wants to work for good companies, correct? Would you want to work for a shit company? You won't, right? So if you're a good person, you want to make sure that you find a great company to work for. Now the question is, most of these people, right, when they look out for jobs, they've never been inside your office. They've never worked for you before. So how do they know? How do they get to know about you? It's only one way, right? Through the internet.
Yeah.
And if you're not paying attention to really making your company attractive, that's why A players don't come. Why is it that companies like Google and all that get to hire a lot of good people? What do? They showcase their office a lot. They tell people that we provide free breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. They show how cool this company is. So they focus a lot of time on attraction. Now, are you focusing any time on attraction? Imagine when I teach all my entrepreneurs, right? I ask them to do one very simple test. Go to Google now and go and search about your company. What do you see? Right? This is the exact experience that everybody that you are potentially going to hire is going to be experiencing. If they cannot find anything about your company, means what? It means you're a lousy company. I don't want to work for you, man. I got a lot of choices today. So it has to start from the making sure that your company is portraying itself as a good company. The attraction part is very, very important. Then it comes with identifying what exactly is an A player to you. I know when I first started business 20 plus years, 7, 8 years ago, when I started to hire people, right, what I used to do is I go to my competitor's job street ad, and then I go and copy, and then I paste it in my job street ad, because I'm thinking, right, if my competitor needs this, means I also must need it. And I'm wondering stupidly, why is it that I always hire the wrong people? Because whatever is fit for them is not fit for me. And in the world of business, we do this exercise where we identify our target market, right? Our customer target market. Who is this customer that we want to serve? We create a persona for this person. But isn't it just as important, if we want to hire a player, to identify the target person, the persona of this person? And I can guarantee you that many people, because I teach this a lot in my programs, and I realize that almost nobody does this, which is really sit down and really create a persona of this person that we want to hire. Let's say we want to hire a salesperson. We're going to ask ourselves, who does this person look like? Oh, it's a guy which is roughly about this tall. He drives a Honda Civic. He has a new family. Lives in PJ. Has one dog. Kid which is probably about 5 to 10 years old. Likes to eat this food. This is the values that he has. This is his driving force. This is what he's earning today. What industry is he working? So really creating this profile of this person. Now, if we manage to create a profile of this person, guess what? Suddenly, everything becomes more clear. I don't know whether you believe in this concept called laws of attraction, or even manifestation, right? But if you truly, if you are truly clear about what you want, somehow the universe brings this person to you. I've done it so many times, and it has worked time and time again. Scientifically, it's because now we are very clear. So when we are very clear, when we write the job ad, we also write it a lot more clearer. When we understand what is this person needs to do, needs the skills that he needs to possess, what type of attitude, we write the job ad clearer. And when we are clear, then the right person reads it. If it relates to this person, he checks you out and he sees that, oh, this company not bad, then he will come to you. So hiring is a whole strategy that starts way before even the interview. An interview is just a validation process. It's just to confirm whether or not this person is right or not. It's the balance 10%. 90% of it already done before even the interview.
Okay. Yeah, I think most entrepreneurs, we focus on what is our client persona, what is our customer persona, but we forgot about the employee persona, which is actually unique to each company. Each company have different requirements or different definition of what they define as an A player. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're coming towards the end of the podcast. So one final question is, entrepreneurship is like, often a very lonely path, right? So what are some ways that the entrepreneurs can get support and guidance in like a community?
I think for me, one of my most valuable lessons in entrepreneurship back in 2010, where for 10 years before that, right, I almost felt that everything in a business is my responsibility. I shouldn't be burdening anyone with my problems, because why? I am the owner of the company. Nobody else is above me. And when I went through a very difficult time, I almost lost my life during that time. I realized that you cannot go through anything alone. You cannot go through life alone. You cannot go through business alone. You cannot go through entrepreneurship alone. Like what you mentioned, right? It's a very lonely path, but it's a lonely path because most entrepreneurs feel that they have to be alone in this journey. So back in 2010, I was introduced to a coach. I was very skeptical. I said, why do I need a coach for? The coach doesn't know my business. But I've never stopped, even until today. Even after going through 17 different companies, I still have a coach. Because at minimum, there is somebody there with you all the time. And second, being at the top of your business, the owner, there's very, very little opportunity for us to bounce ideas. So a coach gives us the ability to bounce ideas with. And third, when you start building, when you start looking for like-minded people, like what you say in the community, and being able to be vulnerable, then you realize that you are not the only one going through the shit that you're going through. Many people are probably going through worse crap than you. So this, I'll be very open to share that. So this was my motivation to start the Owner Circle back in 2019, right? And really to provide a platform such that owners, young business owners, do not have to feel alone in this journey of growth, right? As a business academy, we basically have programs around 7 areas: mindset, business model and strategy, sales, branding, marketing, people, finance, and the main important one in the middle is customer experience. And then through those programs, we build foundations, because most business owners never went through formal business school. So while the programs are created by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, they go through certain academic approach. Now after that, they can go towards a membership, which is a community, which has a lot more learnings, a lot more being with each other, and really striving and doing business together and things like that, right? And then we have a platform at the top, which is we have coaches. I've benefited by having a coach, and I truly believe that everyone in life, whether it's a life coach or a business coach, is somebody which is very, very important. And it's proven. We started this platform about 3 years ago, and we've seen our entrepreneurs scaling 6 times, 10 times. Our record is 23 times in 3 years, right? And it's no secret formula. The secret formula is just that there's somebody there which is holding you accountable and being there with you throughout the journey. So yeah, I welcome everybody listening to this to check out Owner Circle. Other than Owner Circle, I would recommend anybody to really go and find a community. Even if it's just a couple of people, business owners that you know, that you can go to have a meal every month, right? That would already be better than nothing.
So how often like the owners circle community meet to update each other?
At least once a month. So those that are being coached, they meet with the coach once a month on one-on-one, and then they meet in a group once a month. Those that are in the community not being coached, there's many other events that goes on. So there's learning events that you can learn from other more senior entrepreneurs or certain skills in business, right? And then we have this thing where we learn from each other. We go to each other's businesses and offices to learn about each other's business, just to expand our minds, right? Because if you are a good entrepreneur, good entrepreneurs have one very main trait, and that's the trait of learning. We all want to learn and learn and learn and learn. So yeah, some people who are very active comes to an event, comes to the coaching at least once or twice a month. But those that are less active, we see them at events and so on.
Okay, all right, got it. So yeah, thanks Raymond for coming onto the show. Check out Owners Circle down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, man.